Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth on Avenue Foch. Tomorrow is the final stage of the 2025 Tour de France. I am so excited. They're not only going to be finishing here in Paris, but also they're going to be finishing on the Champs-Élysées. And so my friends and I, a whole bunch of us, are gonna meet at the Arc de Triomphe, and gosh, we're just gonna be hanging out at the Arc de Triomphe all day. And we should see them go by like 5 or 6 times. I'm so happy. This is bucket list stuff for me. The idea of ever seeing any stage of the tour, much less the final stage. We got a really cute French dog. I mean, it's just bucket list stuff for me. I'm just so excited. Of course, the Slovenian Pogačar, if that's how you pronounce his name, sorry if I got that wrong, but he's just been incredibly dominant, and he's got more than 4 minutes on Jonas. So that's a bummer, but hey, never say never with the tour. Today, apparently there was a bunch of movement because there were crashes. It was rainy conditions and lots of people went down. And so the top 10 is different today than it was yesterday, which is huge, right? Getting into the top 10 is huge. So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but I just want to explain why this race means so much to me. So I remember watching the tour growing up when I was a kid as one of the highlights of the year. And in particular, 1989, I was 14 years old, and the American Greg LeMond was in the hunt for the yellow jersey, which was held by Laurent Fignon, a Frenchman, and coming into the final stage. And again, that final stage was held, finished here on the Champs-Élysées. Coming into that stage, Greg LeMond was 50 seconds behind Laurent Fignon, and it was a time trial. So, the way that it was organized, it was every 2 minutes a new individual biker would go. And of course, since Greg LeMond was second, he'd be second to last. And since Laurent Fignon was in the lead, he would go last. And it's just one of the most powerful memories I have of sports growing up. Because what happened was, so Greg LeMond, and nobody was using the aerodynamic handlebars. The handlebars where you go down. Nobody was using those. Nobody was using the aerodynamic helmets. Okay, all that stuff was extremely controversial. And Laurent Fignon's team even tried to get the referees to say that Greg LeMond couldn't use that stuff, but they agreed that he could. So, people were making fun of Greg LeMond for his funny helmet and his funny handlebars, but he did the full send, right? I mean, that man went out like a bullet, and he even told his managers, "Don't tell me how I'm doing." He got no information. It was just a complete all-out effort. And so he is steaming into Paris, and I just watched the footage again because you can find it on YouTube. It's great to watch, so I recommend it. I was just watching that footage again, and it's amazing to me because I bike on those roads. A lot of those roads I know quite well now, and to see Greg LeMond doing his time trial in 1989 on those roads, some of them I biked today. To to see that was just so incredible to me. And so 2 minutes after Greg starts, Laurent Fignon starts. He does not even wear a helmet. He's like, just got the traditional handlebars. He's got beautiful, beautiful hair. But, and he's getting all the information. His managers are feeding him as much information as possible. And so Greg is eating up the time. Greg is like 50 seconds behind, right? But he is, now he's like made up 20 of those seconds. Now he just needs to get 30 more. Now he's made up 25 of those seconds. He just needs 25 more, like just gradually picking away at that lead. And Laurent Fignon is like, oh my, I gotta defend my victory. So he is also going full out, realizing that Greg LeMond really is, making that gap shorter and shorter. And then, I'm walking up to the Arc de Triomphe right now, and this is like where it happened, right? Greg LeMond makes the turn at the Arc de Triomphe. He was going one way up the Champs-Élysées, and then he's going down the other towards the finish line. Here, I'll let you see the Arc de Triomphe. I'm almost there. Yeah. So he makes the turn. He's headed towards the finish. He has no idea how well he's done. The footage shows his team going, saying to each other, oh my God, he's made up 48 seconds. 48 seconds, that's amazing. So, it's obviously just the most razor thin difference. Nobody knows who's going to win this race at this point. Greg LeMond is going so fast that he is catching up to number 3. So we're not talking about a slow. We're not talking about Domestique here. It was Pedro Delgado, right? He catches up to guy number 3, like the third in the race, who started 2 minutes earlier than him. So give you a sense of just how fast he was going. So Greg LeMond finishes breathing down the neck of Pedro Delgado. Nobody knows if it's going to be enough or not, because Laurent Fignon is still on the course, and it's his time which is going to determine who wins the entire Tour de France for 1989. The margin of victory came down to 8 seconds. 8 seconds. And Greg LeMond won. And to me, that has just always been a really important moment. It taught me about resilience. It taught me about never giving up. It taught me about the value of embracing innovation and not being afraid of trying something new, even if it was controversial or even if people thought you looked silly. And those are values I hope that I'll always really hold on to. And so for me, here I am basically at l'Arc de Triomphe. So for me, being able to watch in person this great race, the finish of this great race for 2025, it's just really, really moving for me. You see the arc one more time. Can you see it? Yeah. And to think that this is basically happening in my backyard. That this is my neighborhood. Whoever wins tomorrow, no matter what happens tomorrow, it's going to be a great day. Allez, au revoir.